So Apple has finally made an update to Final Cut, so much so that this is now Final Cut 11. Let's take a look at some of the key features in these updates. The first one is the magnetic mask. Now, what the magnetic mask will do is allow you to separate a subject or object from your frame. What I'm doing is I'm replicating this on top of the other clip, because if I don't, you'll see what happens. It will isolate me from the background. So by duplicating it, if I just want to change myself from the clip, I can do that. And I can change the color, add a blur. Anything that I'm adding to that clip will only affect what's in the magnetic mask. So if you want to add it can get a little more interesting. If I wanted to change the color of my pants, I could do this. You can use the plus and minus tools you can fine tune what's in the magnetic mask using the plus or minus brush strokes. So ideally, if it's just a whole person or object and there's enough contrast or detail, the AI will separate that person or subject from the video. If you want to fine tune it, you can work with the plus and minus brushes to fine tune that a little bit. There's a feathering tool, so if you wanted to fine tune the spill around the subject or object, you can do that as well. Next up, and this is a big one that a lot of people have been asking for, is the auto captions. So in order to do this, if your audio is part of a video clip, you want to separate that. Right click on that audio clip. You want to detach your audio from that clip, and then right click on the audio track, transcribe to captions. Now in the caption control, you're limited to what you can do as far as the placement, so you can only select the top or the bottom of the screen. You can't adjust the exact positioning. Once again, you're kind of limited. It's nice that it creates those captions. What you can do, if this is just for closed captions, you can export that as an SRT file, which a lot of streaming platforms and venues will use to generate the caption options. So you can do that. That's really helpful if you are doing a YouTube video. You can, create the captions, export that as an SRT, then export your video without the captions on, so that in YouTube somebody has the option to put the captions on. I know YouTube will auto-generate captions at some point, but if there are very unique words or phrases in there that get lost in translation, you can fine-tune that. You are able to adjust the words in the captions. What you can't change are the fonts, the size. You're able to do bold, italic, and underline. The color of the captions of the letters are two new effects. One's called the call out and the other's called picture in picture. You will find these in the video effects under reframe, and they're the only two in there right now. So let's take a look at call out. Call out is, if you're doing a drone shot, you want to call out or zoom in on a specific area, you can fine tune the controls as to what you're zooming into. It does the transition itself when you play that back. So it'll play back with the footage and then call it out in the smaller corner, sort of magnify that particular region. The other one is the picture in picture. What I like about this is, let's say you're doing an explainer video or you're talking about a specific product. So if I were going to talk to you about this version of the Hobbit book that I bought and how nice the pages are and how it has the built-in bookmarker and how wonderful the letters on the side are and the design of it is, I can just stack those two clips on top of each other. One would be the talking head now, the other would be the B-roll of that footage, and it will just put it right in the corner for you. Apparently there's also a huge update being able to edit with the spatial Mac goggles, glasses things. If you do that, that's good for you. You can do that now. Okay. I've worked as an editor in Final Cut for 15 years, alongside with Adobe Premiere and DaVinci Resolve. I've gravitated more towards DaVinci Resolve. I've gravitated a lot more towards DaVinci Resolve. It's been my main editor for the last 5 years. I'm not one to knock any tool or platform or anything that you're using. If it works for you, that's great. All these features that Final Cut added, already exist in Premiere. They already exist in Resolve. They're just a little bit better, meaning they give you more controls. But I understand people invested in Final Cut, and that's what you're using. And I'm glad that they're at least moving in that direction. Hopefully, we see more updates from Apple and with Final Cut. It's exciting. It's nice that these things are changing and happening. What's more important is if you bought this thing 15 years ago, you don't have to pay any more for the updates. It's an app, so it's always going to update. You're always covered. Actually, the same goes for DaVinci Resolve. If you bought a camera from them and that camera comes with the studio license, you always have that license, and they kind of do the same thing. Let me know what other updates you'd like to see or what updates they did that you're excited about. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. See you around. Peace.